Hey guys. Well, here we are again. Another week of, I'll try not to squeak my chair too much there for you. Another week of working on the C3500HD. So this thing, you saw me stretch the frame and I kind of stopped there. And I got to get done with this frame. Or at least done enough that I feel comfortable moving it out of the barn. So that's the goal for this weekend in this video. And I am going to take a tip from the comments was to grease up those liners before they go in, just to stave off rust. It's already been painted. You saw me do that, but I thought the grease was a great idea, so why not? It's a minor amount of time to get that done. So that's where we stand. So we'll see how far we get, and then I've got a tractor at home sitting on a trailer right outside that door right there, and we are going to, when we're done, get that thing hooked up, and I'll finagle it out of the way, so that I can get some other projects in here. And then we're not done with it. We'll be monkeying with this still. We then gotta get the rear axle done, and then we gotta get motor mounts done, and we gotta get cab mounts modified, and we got this, even just working on it every weekend, this is gonna take months and months and months. So anyway, let's get after it. Okay, so we got that one all drilled. That old mag drill, that cheapy Amazon mag drill, is still holding its own. So bits are holding their own too. But now we just got some regular old, wheel bearing grease. We're just gonna do one of these. I already swept off the shavings, but we're just gonna do a little bit of that, and obviously I'm gonna paste it out, smooth it out. I'll do that a little bit off camera, but we're just gonna give her a whole lot of coating of grease, and yeah, just like that. If it were a little warmer, we'd probably use a little less grease, but oh well. And I'm gonna do the obviously the insides of these. I'm not gonna double coat, the inside of that too. We're just gonna do the inside of the liner, and then I'm gonna do the bottom of the liner too, where it touches. The top has a little bit of a gap, so we're not gonna bother with that. But I'm gonna get after that. We'll get these back in and all bolted in and snug down, and they're permanent. Okay, so first cross member, I think I got done. What I did was, for the extra thickness, I just had to take out a little bit of that notch. And then what I did was I cut out a portion there, and that allowed me to shrink this height-wise. I just bent it down and welded as I went. So it's now about a 1/2 inch shorter-ish. So, and then what we're gonna do too is on the top, I didn't have to do that because I've got a slight gap at the top, I can actually go still under the original frame and over the liner. All right, well, we've got this one in. I had to do a bunch more trimming to make this work, but those two bolts are in and tight, and then I've got this thing just stretched as tight as I can get her, and we've got the original factory holes lined up, so we maintain our exact 34-inch spacing. So we'll reuse the holes in the original frame, and then drill through the C-channel. We're sandwiching this one in between in this case, and then I have to drill new holes in the bottom because of the way that one was shaped. But yeah, we're getting it. Okay, so that first one's in. Guys, I know someone's going to give me grief for this, and I know it's not ideal, but I welded the bottom to that inner rail. I don't have a lot of choice. These GM style cross members, these two, I'm going to have to do that on both of them because they don't bolt to the outside of the C-channel. They bolt into the flanges. So that one at the bottom, to get a single bolt, if you see on this side, that's right where the little knurl or the indent or peel back is, where the factory shocks ran. That's what gives them a chance to ride, I think, if I remember right what that is. And so to try to drill through from the bottom even with a mag drill, there's not much of a flange for that those magnets to catch on, and we're gonna end up snapping bits, and I'm just gonna be miserable, and I don't think it's gonna do much because of that whole sandwich factor, and it's just a pain. So, yep, we're welded. All right, so I've changed my mind on this one. Rather than doing all this crazy bolting, let's just make this be a proper sort of cross member. So I've got this piece of, I don't know, it's either 3/16 or quarter, I think it's 3/16. But I've got it left over from, I cut it off of the old semi-trailer, the old bulkhead, and saved it. Just a nice 12-inch piece. And so what I've done is I've just cut both flanges on this cross member back. And actually I can get 2 cuts out of each end. But we'll just roughly mark a plate. And yeah, we'll bolt it right in. Now I will have to do something because I'm still too tall, so my brain's working. I think basically I'm thinking. I'll get back to you, but we're gonna make this work. Hey, guess what? I came up with a plan. Let me show you what I got. Here's the plan. So what I did is marked it out, and I just cut off. Thanks, guy. And what that's going to allow me to do is take some, it's going to be a little thick, but whatever. We're going to take some quarter bar, like so, some 2-inch, which works out perfect. Gives me a nice beveled out cut. We're going to cut that down to where we need it, so it sticks out to that same point. And then we'll go back to our plan of putting a plate on the end that we can get squared up and get into place. Then we drill from the outside, maybe even use some of the holes we already got, and we've got a nice proper cross member. And we don't have those divots anymore that are going to hold water and rust out like that one did. We don't do any kind of patching. We just get rid of that junk, let it be, and we got ourselves a proper cross member. We're not trying to reuse these holes and all that crap. We'll probably fill that in and call it good. So I like this. This is good. And boom, there we go. So if you guys couldn't tell from what I was explaining, that's what I had in my head. So we got a nice cross member that fits between the liner rails now. And you can see I took some wax and grease remover right here and wiped that down. But I pulled 2 bolts out on this side. I only had 1 old one on this side on that location. But I'm going to shoot some paint on that real quick, and then some paint on the ends of the cross member. And then we'll get it wedged into place. I don't know how much fun that's going to be, but we'll get it done. All right, there we go. She's bolted in. We got 3 bolts per side. I'm running short on my grade 8 1/2-inch flange bolts that I bought. I didn't buy enough. But what I've got is, these are off the L9000 actually. Got a whole box of bolts I kept. They're in good shape, you know. They ain't too crusty. They zipped right off. I think they were old crossmember bolts, to be honest with you. But fine thread, grade 8. I think they're 5/8. And you know, not flange bolts, but we got nice heavy washers that came with them. So we're repurposing those boys. Guys, I tell you what, this thing is worth its weight in gold. Like, this thing's just awesome. I mean, it truly is a game changer when it comes to fabrication. So just so happened that right where that natural opening was exactly 6 inches from top to bottom, and that's exactly the height I need. So we're just going to go down to a 4-bolt flange versus a 6. So you can see I've already done the other side. But what I'm doing is, and what that's doing is letting me get rid of where there's rot at the bottom. That's all going away now. So now I'll make my cut here and here. And I've got to get my angle grinder in there for that part. That's not really suitable. We're going to catch a blade and mess something up if we try to use that saw. But, you know, just do that with the angle grinder. I'm just using the corded one. Save on the old batteries a little bit. Okay. Well, here we go. Well, the cut worked awesome. She's sitting right where I want her to sit, as you can see. But what I did off camera, I didn't show you, was I had thought about it previous, but then didn't. She's too wide, so you can see that's fully welded back in. We took an inch out of her, and it's of course welded on the bottom. Somebody had already changed this cross member at some point in time, and probably when they built the wrecker for the L9000, and so it had some angle iron gusseting in it, so I just left that and re-welded it. So anyway, I pulled all the bolts out of the back, so now I can place this where I want. I'm going to mark the holes on the inside and actually drill from the inside out. For one thing, that's going to be better for my mag drill because it's nice clean steel, but it's easier to mark. I can put it right where I want it and I can get it square, and then we'll just sit my little chair in there and get her done. And once that's all done, then we'll look at grinding that thing clean and getting that welded in, and then we're done. Cross members are complete, and we got ourselves a proper frame rail again, just a little longer and doubled up. Whew. Well, I'm breathing, I can't talk either, breathing heavy. That cross member's bolted in. She's rigid as all heck. And I've got this hitch plate ground down. Now remember, this is not really the back of the truck, nor will there be a hitch there, but that is fuse welded, rust welded in. And I'm out of, those are both empty. I'm out of oxygen. So I'm gonna get it welded up, and then once I get more oxygen, I'm just gonna torch on each side of the plate, and there'll still be a receiver in there, but whatever. It doesn't gotta be pretty, but I want something, I need that plate to weld to on the designs I have back here. Might be changing my mind a little bit on how I do this, but it's basically the same, but tweaking it. So I want that. So I got both frames beveled out. Gonna get that up on the jack and into place, and we're gonna weld her up. All right, there we have it. That rear plate is fully welded in, inner and outer frame rails. She is rigid. I just, obviously, these aren't doing anything anymore, but I left them on to show you. I had the jack underneath it holding it up, and then those to put tension on it, and then I knocked it around with the old persuader until I had it where I wanted it, and we welded it. So it's as simple as that. Well, there we go. I think that's the completion of the frame stretch. And we are officially on to suspension. It is about 6:30 at night, though. I've had a couple racks of rib. Ugh, man, I must have dust in my freaking mouth. I've had a couple racks of ribs cooking in the oven for a couple hours now, so it is time to go in and get those finished up. And I'm dying. I'm hungry. So tomorrow morning I'll get out here and see if I can do this portion of the job without a torch. If I can, we're going to jump on, maybe try to get those mounted. If I can't, then we're going to not do it, and we'll just pull this thing out of here for the time being, and we'll do those another day. But regardless, we'll be back out in the morning. I don't even feel like cleaning up. This is a mess, but I'm tired, I'm hungry, so there we go. Okay, well guys, it is the next day. I've done some working on this driver's side trailing arm setup, and I'm not sure where I'm at with it. I'm going to be honest. So there's a few things I like about this and a few things I don't. What I like is it was cheap. I also like that it's heavy duty. That's point number 2. I'm never going to have to worry about this, holding up or anything else. So plenty strong, dirt cheap. Fabrication is fairly minimal. I got a weld axle purchase, and that's about it. Maybe some work here, bag mounts on the frame, but that's not the end of the world. What I don't like is there's corrosion on it. I cleaned most of that up. I skipped over that, but I needle scaled the heck out of it. There's a pocket down here where material can get in and it can't get out. It's heavy. It adds probably more weight than we need to. That's another downfall. The other one is that, if you guys don't know, GM loves to build narrow axle dualies. So Ford and Ram currently both run, full, basically 96-inch or a hair under, outside of tire axles. And GM runs these like, I don't know, they're like around a 90-inch or something, or even smaller, 86. I don't know. It's a lot narrower. So I measured, my disc brake rear, and from caliper to caliper, I've got exactly 48 inches. I've got a 34-inch frame rail here, and this is basically mocked up into position. And I've got, darn near 6 inches still sticking out past frame rail to here, so, and that caliper is going to ride right, right here. So we add a foot, 34, and we're at 46 inches. So that's an inch of clearance on each side from the caliper to here. It'll work, but it's tight. And then we got lines to contend with, and so I don't know if I like that. I do like that, if I said, hey, I think this will work, I can drill 6 holes and bolt it in, and it's done, and it's ready to fabricate an axle. The other option is that I've been kicking around is there's some fabricators out there that sell heavy duty 4-link kits. So I could go to and they're not that expensive. They're about $600. And we're talking 1.5-inch tubing, 1.125-inch threads, all grade 8, 3-inch wide bushings. And the question would be whether I want to do a 4-link and run a pan hard, or do a triangulated 4-link, which would keep me from having to do a pan hard bar, and then I'd have to fabricate bag mounts. So there's more fabrication there, but it's much, much lighter. I can put it wherever I want. So, the problem is making it work, basically. Excuse me, hiccups. It's a lot more thinking than I might want to get into. This is easy. So I'm going to think on it. I'll let you know. All right, guys. Well, I think I've made the somewhat difficult decision that I don't think I'm going to use these. It's some time I lost, but I just don't think it's going to give me what I want. I'm worried about pinion angle. I think height-wise it would do what I want, but I just don't like some of the factors here. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go the 4-link route. I think we're going to do a custom 4-link and a pan hard bar. And what I like about that, obviously, is pinion angle stays the same. If you don't know how, you can look it up, how the way a 4-link works is as those arms go up, the parallel 4-link bars, the axle stays true in its swing. So it's not a radius where it rotates from a point. It moves together. So a little geometry in action, but it'll keep my pinion angle the same. I will also let me I can custom build some brackets off the inner portion of the axle just inside of the pumpkin. And I think it'll let me do some bag mounts that'll let me come up in here. I'll do another cross member. And that will let me go low. Because I'm kind of changing my tune here, I'll be honest with you. I'm re-envisioning this and rethinking this. Rather than the hydraulic dovetail, because I think that engineering is beyond me. It's beyond my fabrication skills and my tools to be able to get a hydraulic dove that's actually going to be strong, it's going to last. So what I'm envisioning instead is a flatbed with a beaver coming down. And what I think I can do, I think with the right air setup here, I think I can get enough adjustability that I can drop it down so that beaver, when the suspension is dumped, is just a few inches off the ground. And then I can utilize a hydraulic cylinder that will push out a ramp extension that will come down and touch the ground. So picture beaver tail back there, and then you dump the air, and then and it just tucks up into the beaver portion, just like a couple sizes of C channel, so it slides in and of itself, and then that comes out and touches the ground. And then you pull that little short, like it'd probably only be a 1 or 2 foot beaver tail extension, would get pulled back up in, and then suspension comes back up, 6, 8, 10 inches, whatever it is. And then that beaver tail is now riding, a foot or more off the ground at the back. So, simpler for me to build. And I think actually more useful. Now, what that does net me, it means that whatever you're towing on the bed is going to potentially be riding at an angle, but I think this is going to allow us to do a shallow angle on that beaver and get us where we need to be. So adjustability of the suspension is key. And also, again, as I mentioned in last week's video, I'm building this truck to sell it, and I honestly think that a triangulated, or not triangulated, but a parallel 4-link with a panhard bar and 4-link on air is going to be a lot more palatable to who is probably going to buy this truck. So that's the direction we're going. I'm going to scrap this, unfortunately. I've probably got all in with going to pick it up and strip it down. And then what I spent today, I've probably got, I've probably got 8 to 10 hours into this suspension, to be honest with you guys. But sometimes those are the calls you got to make. I just don't think it's going to work. I can make it work. I know I can make it work. I just don't think it's going to be ideal for what I want to do. So that's life. And I think that's the end of this video. I'm going to get some shit cleaned up. I'm going to get a tractor unloaded. I'm going to get some stuff moved. We'll drag this out of the shop and get it blocked up out here outside so I can get a trailer in, and we're going to call it good. Guys, I think I have a grease mustache or a whatever mustache, but as always, I'll keep it short. Thank you for watching. I know I'm changing my mind on the air ride, but we're going to get it figured out. Appreciate you guys as always. Please like, subscribe, comment, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.